one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Bryan Board Public Affairs meeting for April, today is the 19th, yes, April 19th. We'll start the meeting by approving the minutes of the April 5th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Dick?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Next is a hearing of public concerns. Anybody would like to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to the clerk treasurer's report.
The board's been presented with the clerk treasurer's report for the month ending March 31st, 2016.
Any questions?
I move. Go ahead.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Bill?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is a resolution to approve the removal of pay-per-view services and authorize revisions to the Bryan Communications Department general rules and regs accordingly.
Okay, this will be resolution number 12, 2016, a resolution to authorize removing in-demand pay-per-view services offered by the Bryan Communications Department and approving revisions to the Bryan Communications Department general rules and regulations accordingly. So just a little information, on February 23rd, roughly, in-demand pay-per-view services sent an email to Joe and I believe myself notifying us that as of May 31st, this current year, in-demand would be removing removing 3 of their 8 pay-per-view channels they offer, okay? So in that letter, they also stated that they would be replacing the channels with an Espanol channel, but they would continue to offer their sports offerings. Okay, so we've lost some channels, but they're going to insert another channel in there and continue on with the sports side of that. However, we currently, at this time, pay $250 a month just to have the ability to access those channels for our customers, and they were going to keep that pricing the same. There's no, pricing changes. So after talking with Joe about how does this do for us? I mean, we're losing channels, prices are the same. Do we even see any of our margins built into this that actually allow us to carry this? And after doing some evaluation and discussing in committee, it comes down to that we continually lose money on this block of pay-per-view channels every month. We have been bleeding slowly with this group for quite a while now. Not only do the $250 fees right off the bat, we don't have a lot of customers partaking of those in-demand services. There's a lot of streaming services out there that people buy, and in-demand happens to be not one of them for us. It's also a different type of report that takes Joe a lot of man hours to put together to be able to submit to the clerk so they can upload it into their system. So there's it's a labor-intensive process. It's not real easy to use. So after discussing with the team and then also discussing in committee a little bit to bring to the full board, our recommendation is to remove the pay-per-view services, those in-demand channels, from our channel lineup. Allow us to send a letter to in-demand, letting them know that we're removing their services. We no longer want to be carrying their services. We have a 120-day opt-out period we have to wait. And allow us to revise and update the rules and regs to show that. So Joe is here to help answer any questions. So that's just the skinny behind it. It's open for discussion, and I would encourage some discussion on this.
What do the purchases generate in revenue, the average purchases per month of the in-demand service?
I just sent a report up to the clerk's office the other day. It was less than $200, and we only get to keep about 20% of that.
So we send 80% of that $200 onto pay-per-view.
Plus we have to spend the
plus the
$250
$250 that we paid it just to have one.
No, the $250 comes out of that. If we were to sell more than $250 worth, then we pay the $250
I see. Okay.
plus anything over that. Okay. That's in demand's part.
So we're still obligated for the next 120 days?
for the 250.
Any more discussion, any questions?
It looks like, Joe, there's 8 to 12 purchases per month. And for most, and that's from one or two customers or three customers?
This month, the report went up to the clerk's office. This month, we had 5 customers that purchased a total of 7 events.
Okay.
So you had 2 customers that purchased 2 of them.
And this service is only available to the customers that have the expanded basic.
Digital, they had to have digital basic with the set top. And then the on-demand is they purchase it through the remote control, then it reports back to our system. Then once a month, we generate a report to the clerk's office, and then they have, it's pretty labor intensive for them to also take and extrapolate that information and place it. Everything has to be manually done with this. There's nothing automatic.
What percentage of our total number of subscribers then you think will be affected by this, or, I mean,
Well, we're generally having anywhere from 5 to 8 customers per month. We have about 250 digital basic customers. So it's a minuscule percent
I guess so.
of the total sub base.
The other thing I'll bring up, Joe, that you and I talked about, so let's say one of the events happens to be a sporting event, and we're all familiar with MMA fights and whatnot. If some of these events happen to be an MMA fight, and the customer calls in and says, hey, right in the middle of a fight it went out, or I can't seem to access it, but the buy button recognized that we purchased it, we as a utility refund their dollars back to them, but on the in-demand service, we're required to pay for that. Even though we refunded, we're still going to have to pay it out. And it happens quite a bit. There's, and it can be a hiccup that's not even on our end, that comes from the other side. We're still going to eat that cost. So it's hard to say, even on those 6 to 8, some of those we may have paid for, and those customers didn't get it. So I'm just throwing that on the table as well. It's a very difficult service to manage.
So Laura, you're inserting those into their bill each month manually. This is how much you owe us for this.
Right.
I know in our rules and regs it says that if you haven't paid for one, you can't get another one. I guess if you're behind, you haven't paid your in demand, then you can't get another one.
They used to have a higher volume of customers that would take advantage of this, but quite honestly, a number of them were customers that couldn't pay their bills. So that's why that rule is now in rules and regs, and the numbers just continue to dwindle off.
So the interest in this has kind of dropped off over the years.
Video on demand, VOD, is really starting to take over. And that's, your Netflix, your Hulu, your YouTube, those kinds of things. I mean, people are choosing what they want, yeah. And they're getting a larger package for their dollars.
And Bryan, even with the sporting events, which everyone always worries about losing, a vast majority of folks this day and time don't even purchase these sporting events through pay-per-view. They go to an online streaming service and get them that way. Like your WrestleManias, your UFC, Fox, and so forth. A lot of folks go onto the websites and they stream those products.
So our customers could be using our internet service to get those things via streaming.
Well, yes.
They're still getting them.
Yes.
And they're our customers.
It
They're just not choosing
just
to do
won't be
it.
offered as
Yeah.
a channel, but yes,
Right,
you could stream through us.
right. There you go. Just stream to it.
So our recommendation to the board is to remove those channels from our channel lineup, change the rules and regs, or update the rules and regs reflecting that, and this also gives us that permission to send the letter off to in-demand, exercising that opt-out period.
So when would you do this? If it's a 120-day notice, you're gonna keep it active till the end of the 120 days, or you're gonna do it?
Joe and I talked about that. We would probably keep it active, but we're not going to do any work with it. We will pay the 120, the fee we have to pay.
You pay the
during that
250,
period.
but you won't be.
But in
able to
essence,
do
we're
it.
going to shut it down.
So Lori's not gonna have anything to do with it. We're not gonna do it. Allow
We're
anybody.
going to do our best to clean it up. There's a
Yeah.
transition period,
You can probably call the 5 people and tell them this isn't gonna be available.
potentially. I mean, we're gonna work through it. I'm just,
Yeah,
we may have a couple of hiccups, but we're gonna work through it.
the end result will be the same.
Yes.
Okay. Well, a board member could each take one and call it.
We can have you come on in and send
Yeah,
that
there
out.
you go. All right. Any more questions for Joe? Any questions at all? Comments? In that case, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Dick,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Next on the agenda, a resolution to enter into contract for the East Village Addition Underground Electric Replacement Project Phase B.
Okay, this would be resolution number 13, 2016, a resolution authorizing the Bryan Director of Utilities to enter into contract with Michigan Underground LLC for the East Village Addition Underground Electric Replacement Project Phase B at a total cost of $56,938. So to refresh the board and refresh your memory, Phase A originally encompassed, well, this project actually, Phase A was completed in 2015. This is Phase B of the project. When we asked to go out to bid for it, the project itself encompasses the labor to install 2 and 3 inch HDPE, which is polyethylene pipe, or conduit pathways, and all the corresponding transformer pads and interface boxes, and that's either primary or secondary interface boxes. Once those are installed, our staff will come in and pull the wire in approximately 215 feet of primary, then 675 foot of secondary, and do all the relocations physically. The staff did put this project together, did receive permission from you folks to go out to bid, sent out 8 bid books to potential bidders, of which we received 1 bid. We did receive a couple other phone calls stating that, we appreciate the opportunity to bid, but right now we are so busy we can't. So markets, I guess, for that, everybody's busy already, and it's already early spring. Michigan Underground has been a successful bidder in the past with BMU. I believe with us, they've got a proven track record, so I'm comfortable accepting this bid and the recommendation of that team. Michigan Underground is a very professional group, and they have represented us really well. When we talk about taking care of the customer, this is one of those groups that really do a nice job of it. So, if approved tonight, if the board accepts our recommendation and approves this, we would expect to see that Michigan Underground will be in here and would have a substantial completion date of about July 15 and estimated final completion date of July 29. So they would get on this pretty quick, as long as the weather holds. I mean, we've been pretty fortunate, had some nice weather lately. But again, Al Sullivan is here also to entertain any questions you may have on this Phase B part of the project.
I know from experience that a lot of that out there is ready to be replaced.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the same group that did Phase A,
Yep.
right?
Same
Okay.
group. They also did a phase out in all over the place, plus some other different subdivisions in town in the past 5-7 years.
Does that finish up East Village? Yeah,
No, there's one more
more.
stretch on the north side that we need to.
Is this also in the line that where the backyards meet from street to street, that
Yes,
home
yes,
straight down the...
Your rear lot easements,
Rear
there's a
lot.
lot of fences in this section. Maybe that's why the increased price, maybe it's a little more difficult to get to than the previous one. You might be a little more involved in walking around the fences and stuff to do the locates and things like
Is the footage the same as last time?
that. It's roughly the same, it's a couple thousand feet.
How many houses does it affect?
If you want
Approximately.
an exact number?
No.
I would say probably around 30, 35.
Okay.
This is a tough area to bore, pretty congested. I mean,
A lot of
there's,
stuff there.
yeah.
And like Al said, from my experience with the easements, all them fences go beyond, and people put stuff back there.
So this is the right of way between Colonial and
Wilson.
Wilson, from Union Street to,
Union to Palmer.
To Palmer.
Past Palmer.
okay.
This was in this current year's budget. It did come in under engineer's estimates. Didn't come in as cheap as we was hoping, but it did come in under where it needs to be. It still figures out to be a competitive price.
What were you hoping?
You know, if we go by last year's numbers, we were hoping to come in at about $5,000 or $6,000 less than that. You know, so, you know, you could always hope, but again, we didn't anticipate only receiving one bid. And what's going on out there and the letters that we did receive or the phone calls received, it doesn't make a lot of sense to kill it and go back out to bid again because we just extend this another month to get one bid. And even if that, they may not bid on this again because they're already picking up work. So,
And it is a prevailing wage job.
And we're supplying all the materials too?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it a bad job? From a congestion, obviously I've heard about the fences, I've heard about this, so it must be.
It's a typical job, sewers, you know, underground communications all over us, you know, a lot of spot utilities, you know, when you cross them.
We've got
Sewer
good-
taps that we don't really,
Do we got good GSI data or or?
we will when we're done.
So going in, you're saying we don't?
well, realize the electric system is probably 30+ years old in there. And on top of that, you've had competitors' communication systems put in originally and then overlaid. So now you have 2 and 3 runs of different individuals in there of the same system.
There's
that
a
are on
lot
our
of
stuff.
There's
Not
a lot of
not
stuff
all
on the
ours.
ground out
So you
there.
have BMU cable. Let's just say we have BMU cable, BMU power. You also have competitor A cable, competitor A phone, competitor A's new phone, competitor A's new cable. All that's still on the ground there. You have to work around all that because you're not sure which one's live, which one's not.
There's a
That's
lot
what
of abandoned
that's what you're
stuff.
paying for, is for these guys to open up the ground and see what's there and shoot through it.
Well, we had to allow whoever competitor A, B, and C to do this.
It's a utility right away. As long as they submit to the city engineer, they can go in and do it. We as a utility don't have a choice.
No, but we could look when they're doing it, I guess.
Yeah. And then you'll have, let's say we have a 15-foot easement. Encroachment upon that might give you 10 feet of actual working area. Because fences, pools, garages, barns, trees, shrubs, yep. Over a 30-year period, it does add up.
Yeah, I would like to mention the engineering staff did a great job in GPSing. You know, they located all this out and GPS everything for our maps. So
Okay.
we've got good mapping on it, you know, existing stuff there. We went extra, you know, on that just because it was so congested. We did our, you know, the sewer taps, you know, we drew off the sewer tap books and everything that city engineering has.
Yeah, and we'll give a kudos to city engineering because they've really stepped up the game in the last year and a half on their tap cards being electronic to supply us that data. So, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff there.
So Michigan Underground goes in and starts, and they cut this and they cut that and.
They're responsible for it. That's part of the contract.
So that's part of this.
And I do want to say with Michigan Underground, they will hook up to utilities and locate them to double check the locator. You know, they will go the extra mile to do that, so they don't hit things.
Because they don't want anything, so they gotta pay to get it fixed or fix it and waste time and money.
Right, so they feel that they can hook up to that stuff direct and locate it out themselves, so they can double check the locator, and then, you know, of course, you can't say that you're never gonna hit it.
Right.
Okay.
You know, they do their best to try to.
We also build a 1-year workmanship warranty in these where they're responsible for things that develop a year after the fact. Let's say they happen to hit your sewer line and you're a single person living there and you don't use much water or sewer, but then you have family over and it's plugged and we find that it was us that went through it, we still bring that back in to take care of business. So I mean, there's a little risk that's built into that price too.
Yeah, there's a 3-year tile warranty. Like if they hit something and within 3 years if they do have problems, they do come in and have to warranty that.
And you call that lessons learned over the years on our end.
Based on my experience, they never hit anything, they just nick it. I would just nick that.
Well, a nick still causes us problems.
I know.
Yes.
But it wasn't like we just cut it in half. We just nicked it, oh, it leaked all over it, but.
Especially with the secondaries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just nicked it.
Any more questions? Motion?
the bid.
Second?
Bill,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Next on the agenda, a resolution to a resolution to enter into contract for an electrical cost of service and rate design study.
Okay, this would be resolution number 14, 2016, a resolution authorizing the Bryan Director of Utilities to enter into contract with Utility Financial Solutions, LLC, for the completion of electric cost of service and rate design study at a cost of $22,000. So let me start off with a couple things here. First off, I do want to recognize that Courtney & Associates has been our primary rate consultant for many years and still is our consultant. However, I believe there are times when a fresh set of eyes and a fresh perspective is a good thing, okay? Back last fall, I did talk and ask for proposals from Utility Financial Solutions, or UFSL, as well as John Courtney and his group, to perform a full-fledged cost of service study. The last cost of service study performed for the electric department was back in 2012. So we typically perform these about every 5 years because the market and the industry changes quickly. Part of your bond covenants on some of your projects require you to do it as well. So it's sort of like, it's a standard and we have to do it. Or we should be doing it, how's that? So at that time, there was quite a bit of difference in the structure of the quote as well as pricing. So I went ahead when we built the budget for this current year, sort of built the budget to reflect the higher end with a little bit of a slush factor in there, because I wanted to make sure we could encompass what we were looking for, especially with what's coming on with distributed generation, which is solar and wind on people's homes and some other things. I mean, really got to get ahead of the curve, and we're not ahead of the curve right now on that stuff. So after the first of the year, I made contact with both firms, and I said, you know, I would like a really detailed quote. You know, what you sent me, what you want to stay with, because I really would like to see some detail. Tell me what you're going to do for us in this, and give me the pricing that matches that, as well as, you know, what are you going to provide me? So both entities provided me another quote, of which this particular company provided me a little more meat and potato detail. The other one, maybe not as much. So after discussing again with staff and kicking it around and really looking at this, like I said, it's time to have a fresh set of eyes, reevaluate what we do with our rates. I'm not saying our rates are wrong, because I don't know, but things have changed. The markets have changed. Our load has changed. Our usage has changed. Where our fund balances, and I bring fund balances in this because that's all plays into the actual rate to do what we do every day. The cost of materials has changed. Part of this, well, in this quote, if you read through it, there's a lot of stuff going on in here. At the end of the day, we're going to evaluate the current rate structure we have to see if it keeps us competitive, to see if it meets our needs. We're also going to evaluate the future rates on where they need to be, and the rate tiers. Now that's difficult because we have 3 rate tiers right now as it comes to residential, commercial, and large industrial. But does that meet what we needed to be today to be able to secure other companies in town? Does that rate structure make sense to make us competitive, but yet still cover our ends, okay? The demand structure. Demand is a large part of our bill. A large part of our commercial bill, and most residential customers don't have to worry about that demand charge. Your commercial accounts do. A lot of times we see the demand end up being 50% of someone's bill. Is that where it needs to be? Is that price point indicator the right number? So those are the things that are going to be evaluated in this. On top of that, when we come around the backside, I want to know what the actual cash reserve is supposed to look like. You know, many times we get comments about the fund balance where it stands today, but really the moving target number needs to be grabbed on good data so we know what that number is supposed to be to pay the bill for 190 days out or 180 days out. You know, there's an industry standard when we get rated, we need to follow that and we need to be there. So where we sit with our fund balance may be where we're supposed to be at, or it might be under where we're supposed to be at. I don't know those numbers. My staff, if approved, this will be a full-fledged undertaking all summer. We're going to be digging into the weeds in some areas we probably haven't jumped into before. The nice thing about this, at the end of the day, the reports that we're going to get back and knowing what we're supposed to know is key. Now, I do want to point out the $22,000, that is the cost to do the study. If you read the report, and I made mention in my board summary, that there are travel expenses or other incurred expenses if we have the firm continually come down here and sit with staff. I did supply the contract to Rhonda, the service contract. I didn't even make any mentions of the stuff that I was concerned about, and I let Rhonda comment back to me, and it was almost verbatim what I was thinking. So when I hit her back, I'm like, yep, those are the things I wrote down for myself. And now that you mentioned this, I'm gonna go the next step. I'm gonna talk to Dawn Lund, who is the person who provided this quote, and we got talking. I said, you know, your firm has a little distance from us. You're a very large in utility businesses. This is what you do for the world. Tell me how you're going to help manage, keep that cost down. That group is really big into WebEx and interfacing that way. We do that regularly with AMP and other meetings my staff does. So we looked at what it would take to bring her down one time for the end of the year presentation and some other things. So we know that every time we bring her in, it's going to be another $2,000 plus, $2,200 to $2,400. So knowing that, we can manage that. So realize the $22,000 to do the study is to do the study. There's another factor that can be added to that later. Those that know me know I'm not a change order type of person. I don't like that. But I will build, to be honest, a little fluff into this PO to be able to cover the time she comes down, or if I need to bring her in one more time. If I bring this person in 2 or 3 times, I'm still underneath what my other quotes were. I'm just going to throw that out there. Okay. So I'm willing to take questions. Like I said, it's hard to explain the full-fledged cost of service on how it's presented. You almost have to read it and go through the process with us. But go ahead, ask any questions that hopefully I can knock them out of the park for you.
So
Go ahead.
the $22,000 does not include the one time that she would come down to make a presentation? Or-
The one time in the presentation, if you read the quote, is in there. So she will come down and present. But any
And
additionals after that, or any time that she needs to come down and meet with staff, let's say there's some paperwork that just doesn't jive on how we do something and what they're looking for to help develop these numbers, and we have to bring her in, I'm going to pay that. I have to.
So we're basically doing the same thing we did with the water,
It's identical to what you're doing with water. Yep.
to see if we're where we need to be today, tomorrow.
Yeah, so this is a cost of service study that's going to reflect their first year and then give you five forward year projections. But if you want the stamp of approval on those extra years where it really says, you know, here's where the rate increases are going to look like, or no rate increase this year, or, you know, that's the building process. Now, we still have the other consultant on staff as our consultant, and it's going to stay that way. It's just, this is something a little different.
How long do they project that this study will be good for?
They normally will go 5 years out,
5
not
years
much more.
out? And the fees charged by this utility financial solutions that are comparable to the people that we've used in the past?
Yes. Without divulging any other.
You're right.
quotes, Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
And we will supply some help with our own people and our own information to
give
help
us to-
them develop the information that you're looking for in a final report then.
Yeah. If when you dive into this quote, there are breakouts of certain types of data for certain calendar years and certain financials with load data and all the other things. So it will be me asking Lori for information on a quick report. It'll be Matt Killian pulling load data from the subs. It will be Al Sullivan pulling meter data. So I mean, there's a lot of people getting data to help design this rate structure.
So that helps a lot, saving a lot of money then.
Yes, yes. So our goal is, as we're uploading it, If most of you guys are familiar with WebEx, we will be actively viewing her desktop and going through the process with her. So that, to me, that's a key.
So we'll have access to that information.
That will be ours when we're done.
Ours when we're done.
Yep. And again, I honestly can't tell you how it's gonna look when we're done. This is gonna be pretty intense.
I was intrigued going through it, looking at the development, potentially of new rate classes. Interruptible loads, seasonal rates, time of use, economic development rates, potentially. And then the others were really interesting, public education rates, green rates, net metering rates, aggregation rates. And then you mentioned distributed generation, which that would have to be also part of the potential.
So what I would envision on a lot of that, and having talked with Dawn quite a bit, the development of that and then a recommendation process. You know, we can't do 180 and throw all these rates into a big
No.
pile. So we have to go, okay, we accept a block of these because A, our billing system can handle it, the change can be handled and managed by the staff. You know, realize our rate structure and how we've done our rates have been around for quite a while, and our staff's very familiar with that. If you tweak and change, it's a learning process for us. I mean, and even staff uptown, we're used to seeing this work this way, and if we change a little bit, we all have to get used to it.
Yeah, when you get into distributed generation, now we're getting Lori's involved.
Yeah.
Here we go, credits and yada, 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 go along. I think it's pretty interesting, at least to investigate it, and it's not for everybody, but from a customer perspective, I think it's trying to look at options potentially for our customers that might work.
You have a choice today of sitting there and ignoring what's coming down the train tracks, or to actually recognize it. You have distributed generation and other things on the track coming your way. And when it gets to be here, there's gonna be leverage and power from the community saying, we want this, or we're gonna go somewhere else. And not go somewhere else to buy power, but we can relocate our businesses, we can do all these things. We don't want that. We wanna be cutting edge and be able to keep entertaining business in Bryan, Ohio. That's part of the economic development. You need a competitive rate to do that, but to get there, you need to know what your costs are. You know, is the fund balance the right? Is the power production, the stuff we do there, is that figured in correctly? Is our mixed portfolio and those debts of that portfolio over an extended period of time, is that going to be covered? Are we capturing depreciation? Are we capturing inflation? Are we capturing all those things have to be brought in? And I mean, quite honestly, there are groups like this one and others that do this for a living day in and day out. So they're very familiar with that. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it because I want to see how this plays out where we're at.
Because I think from the retail perspective, there's going to be companies that are going to come to our community and say, hey, we want to sell you our rooftop solar panels to put on your roof. And they're going to be calling you or calling us. Or saying,
We've already had that, and we turn that away right now
Right.
because we don't have the tools in place for us to manage it. And fortunately, we have some really good businesses here in town that are willing to work with us right now on that. But there will come a point in time where we have to recognize it.
There's
Yeah.
gonna be pressure. So, yeah, it's coming. As you said, the train's on the track, so I think we got to get prepared for it and manage it, and so we know.
There's a benefit to have those things, those resources in place that are not ours. And there's also some liability on that. So we need to know what that is, so we can structure the rate accordingly. So yeah, it's not, I hate to say this, it's not the rate of the old days where here's a kilowatt hour, we sell it, here's demand, this is how we sell it, and this is what you used. It's more interactive, so.
But you continue, I mean, we look at, I'm looking at our bills each month, and Courtney and Associates is always usually on there. We send them a check every month as a rate consultant, so you continually will work with them. This is just somebody bringing in outside of him to do this, to look at, as you say, a new set of eyes.
Yes.
So he'll still be
That group is
service
still
provider.
our rate consultant.
okay.
We're just hiring out a cost of service to be performed by someone
So you're
else.
not replacing our quote-unquote a rate consultant or vendor who provides that. You're just, this is because you're just want this study.
This is
done
the
by-
portion of something we need done that we
Okay.
asked for quotes. And I was very open, even with our current rate consultant. I am entertaining offers from others to look at to have this done.
So if anybody comes to us out there and says, we're a board member, what about distributed generation? Which means I want to have something to generate power on my,
Yeah,
we're
so-
going to say we can't really do anything until we get this cost of study back and look at that.
Yeah, because
Feasibility of all that.
without getting too techy, the distributed generation has a cause and effect relationship. Okay, and that cause and effect is there's a cost to provide the wires, the poles, the transformer, XYZ to the person's house. However, distributed generation also benefits me because it lessens some of the energy I need to purchase and it lessens my demand profile as a utility. So we can get some benefit from that. But the relationship between the cause and effect is the dollar amount. There's something in there. So somebody once paid for solar on a house being produced, where the other ratepayers say, we, as a rate group, paid to have that pulled to your house. So in between is where we need to find that number.
We don't need it Sunday morning at 9 o'clock.
Thank
So,
you.
Therefore, so we're not gonna pay you Sunday morning at 9 o'clock for your solar generation.
Right.
On Monday at 9 or 7 o'clock, we could use it, so.
So
then
there's, it's a
time
give
up.
and take.
Right. So, hey, we only need it this time, we only wanna buy it.
And this is 3 months, basically 12 weeks, start to finish.
Truthfully, it sets up as 12 weeks, but I'm gonna tell you, it's probably gonna take a little longer than that. I mean, once you really start getting into the nitty-gritty and I'll be honest, that we, as a utility, find out how hard it is to grab all this data and where it's all located at, because there's maybe some things that we didn't realize they're gonna ask for. I mean, it's in here, but we could be getting the wrong information. They're like, no. I'm gonna say, if I can bring something back to the board that is a finalized, completed, hang your head on by August, September, I'm gonna be okay with it. So I'm just saying, give me some time. We really wanna make sure what we bring you is the good stuff.
It sounds like they'll have some new ideas on rates and things like that, like Bill was referring to. Some new ideas.
And the worst is, if they don't have new ideas, it comes down to, you guys are doing things right, and here's some adders.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So,
Any more questions?
I think it's always that we wanna try and be as fair as we can be with all of our customers, whether they be industrial, commercial, residential, small businesses. We would like to be as fair as we possibly can, and that one class doesn't subsidize another class.
yeah, whatever we do with one definitely impacts the other. So there's gotta be a balancing act between. And that, we're just trying to find, to make sure our numbers are truly balancing the way they're supposed to.
I think the only way you can check that is you gotta do a cost study every so often, periodically.
Questions? Have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Dick?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Next on the agenda, resolution to authorize the sale of a JLG boom lift by sealed bid.
Okay, this will be resolution number 15, 2016. A resolution authorizing the Bryan Director of Utilities to sell the electric department's JLG 60H boom lift by sealed bid on an as-is basis. So in 2000, the utilities purchased a used, and notice I said used, JLG 60H boom lift for work at the All Glaze Hydroelectric Facility. The unit was put to work pretty hard. I mean, when that facility was down, it got beat up on pretty bad. And it was a used piece of equipment at that time. And I couldn't find any information, but I could have swore at that time we also put a little extra money into it to get it up and going, and some of the other things we're pretty rough on. I'll just go that route. So, late 2015, Matt Killian, our power production superintendent, sent it off to United Rentals there in Perrysburg. I believe I have that right, in Perrysburg. I had the lift cylinder looked at, it was leaking by and some other things. United Rentals then contacted Matt not too long after we had sent the unit down and just said, there's some structural problems wrong with this, and there's more work than just this lift cylinder. So Matt had said, don't fix it, but put together a comprehensive list and give me a price quote. Well, their comprehensive list and price quote came back about $32,000. So Matt come to me, we were talking, and I said, I can't consciously, and Matt was in agreement, put $32,000 in a used piece of equipment that's had, the goodie worked out of it. So at that time I asked Matt, I said, what's the chances of getting it back, going to the board and asking to sell a piece of equipment? We anticipate the value to be well over $1,000, so by that nature alone we have to have board action. The market itself, Matt went out and started looking at what used equipment of this nature, even with this structural issues that we're gonna we could expect to see around $5,000 for it on a sealed bid. So, told Matt, I said, let's go to the board and see if they'll let us, as a resolution, sell it as is, under sealed bid, with a minimum bid of at least $5,000. I know, maybe a little more, just to let it go. And then my other question, I said, and we'll be bringing this to you later, is do you have enough money in your budget that will allow you to buy a scissor lift or something that we need down there that can be used here at the utility as well? We don't just buy a piece of equipment to stay at the hydro plant because it's only good there. When we purchase capital equipment of that nature, we want to be able to use it throughout the utility. Predominantly, it's going to stay where it was purchased at in its home, but if it needs to be used at the utility. So that will be coming your way in the future potentially. But what's on the table right now is the request as resolution to allow us to sell a piece of equipment on a sealed bid. And again, we anticipate the value to be at least $5,000, which just puts us in a board approval position. And Matt is here to answer any question.
How high does this boom lift go, man?
It's a 60-foot boom lift.
Whoa.
It's really, to use in the plant, it's really too big.
Yeah, I mean, there's
it's
not-
outside, and, we talked with Bryan, if we're gonna do anything outside, we're just gonna run a bucket truck down there and do it outside. We really need something we can work and maneuver in the plant with, so. Like I say, it was bought to do the construction, the work on the outside, and it sets most of the time now. But we could really utilize something that we could maneuver inside.
So like a scissor lift or something like that?
Yeah, to work on basically, maintenance on the crane, windows, anything in our warehouses around here would be awesome to have, be able to maneuver.
Do you have an idea of what a new lift would run? I know we're not talking about it yet, but
I haven't got the quotes yet for anything new.
They're expensive. They're solid.
more than we're gonna get when we sell the old.
Yeah.
Probably, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're getting rid of something that's aged, and you're gonna buy something that's new.
But that'll be something that'll do you more good than this.
Right.
Okay, so I like the comment. I'm glad Bill brought this up. When you say we don't have to buy new. So my opinion, I'll throw this out as my opinion, and I talked to staff about this. When you buy used construction equipment that's been traded in, there's a reason why it's been traded in.
It's been beat up.
There you go. So I don't want to get rid of something that's beat up to buy something that's beat up that a year later can go, oh, we need an extra 5 or 10 to fix this again. I come from
But
the
we
school.
probably wouldn't beat it up. Now we're in the maintenance phase. I don't know that we would beat it up as much as.
So on a scissor lift, the battery packs alone for that can be $7,000. I'm just throwing this out.
I know it's bad.
So we look at that, and we look at the fact that if we purchase a new capital asset here at the utility and the way our staff takes care of it, then we can probably see 15 to 20 years out of it. So we weigh that out.
Yeah, if I was a contractor, I'd want to buy you new stuff because it's not all beat up.
Yeah, but the utility's not a contractor.
Well, we bought a used piece of equipment, it lasted us 15 years.
That's
so
pretty good.
We did well with this unit for what we
Hey, we
bought it
can look at
for.
used if you would like.
I get, well, we're talking about this for a second.
Yeah.
So I'm off.
And of course, it doesn't get used as much and it sets, and then we have issues with electric and.
So what we would like to do first is have permission to sell this as sealed bid. Let us do homework on, and of course, we've already started the process of the pricing. Even though I'm pushing more towards a good purchase, we will look at both to bring as a recommendation.
You come back to us.
Then we'll let you beat us up.
That'll be a crisis. We gotta have it tomorrow.
Oh, no, we'll give you at least 2 weeks' notice.
And we found this one.
We found one, it's a great price, only $120,000.
See, he'd rather sell used cars than new cars.
Yeah, who bought a car?
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I should say.
All right. Any more questions?
You're gonna take away a memory, Matt.
I know, I really like it.
I'm sure you'll shed a tear when that thing rolls away.
Is it orange?
Yes, orange and white, beige. It got me up when I first started at the power plant, painting the tall ceiling, and it wouldn't start, let me back down. I was too embarrassed to call the police department. Come to help me down, so I slid down the boom.
So that's why you get a new piece of.
Yeah, that's why you don't buy used.
They need her.
Thank you for that support.
Yes.
Thank you for that support, Nick.
I do.
Yeah, hopefully she isn't listening.
Thank you for that support.
Used is not always better.
Matt, be working on Dick after this meeting.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
No.
Can I have a motion, please?
I move that we sell the JLG as is.
Second.
Karen,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Bill,
With a tear in my eye.
Tom.
Yes.
Mine too.
I didn't think you were gonna say a sign that Pebbles used DLGs.
I know, we can hook you up.
Yeah. All right. Next on the agenda, a request to put Lee Steinke on regular employment status.
Okay, this would be a request to reclassify Lee Steinke from probationary customer service 1 to regular employment status as customer service 1. Lee does provide excellent customer service to the community. He's developed a good, a very strong working relationship with the clerk treasurer's office. He does a fantastic job. He continues to strengthen his customer service skills, really jumping into the Track 2 metering program through GLEMS, which is Great Lakes Meter School Education Program. Like I said, I smile. Lee's first year with us was that School of Hard Knocks. It was the cold winter, 2014 winter, snow everywhere. And he honestly did struggle. He come to me one day and he's like, I don't know if I made this right choice. We got him through it. Today, he's the go-to. I mean, it just, School of Hard Knocks, he survived.
He's good, man.
And I know Lisa talks highly of him. I mean, he's just a very, very good staff member. So I would respectfully request that we move Lee to regular employment status as a customer service 1.
I agree.
I had a long conversation with him today. He was in my front yard. So.
Oh, was he?
And nice gentleman and very helpful and polite and
Very friendly.
He represents so well. Yeah.
Makes a great customer service.
Yeah, he does.
Really, he's perfect for it.
And there is no cost or pay change either with this move, so just becomes a full-time employee. Permanent. He's stuck with us now.
Maybe we should think about
We
it.
get a second?
No.
We need a second.
Second.
Bill,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Tom.
yes.
Next is to affect semi-monthly disbursements. Can I have a motion to pay the bills? No?
So,
Second,
Dick,
yes.
Tom,
yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Karen,
I don't know, there's 4 of them that should have been. Yes.
Bill.
Okay. Comments from BP and staff?
Don't mind, just a couple. We will be sending out a postcard to all our customers here soon in the near future, marketing our cable and internet pricing. So be on the lookout for that. We're excited about getting something out there. As well as just for the board, we are sitting down right now with Ohio Gas, working on some kind of contract or proposal to bring the board here probably this fall, or maybe a little sooner, to get us through what we dealt with last year. So it's been a good process, good working relationship. I appreciate that team at Ohio Gas. They've done a great job putting together some stuff to talk about. So I'm excited. It's a good thing.
Mayor?
We sold the old EMS building
Wow.
last Thursday night, $50,000 we got for that, so hope you do as well on your. And we sold the old towel, we got rid of that, $12.50, so we were really pleased with that auction. We had a discussion last night at council with Clean Up the City, with all the pickups that we have, get all your trash and get it out to the curb so we can get rid of that. Reminded people of the 9-inch rule of the grass. Grass is going to start growing. We want people to mow your yards and so forth. If you're buying pools, we got the rules and regulations for outdoor pools with the fences around it. reminded of that. And just signs in the yard, a lot of people are sticking signs out on the terrace rather than back where they belong. And we reminded people of that, so had a good meeting last night, and I think that, also Thursday at the fairgrounds, they're having a electronic recycling day for the county. So you can take all your old computers and different things like that over there, a lot of telephones or anything you might have. The only thing they won't take is anything containing Freon. It's not accepted. But you can take it over to the fairgrounds at 10 to 4 and get rid of all your, that kind of stuff if you have any of that. So, good time to do that. So, that's what's going on.
Okay. Rhonda?
No, sir.
All right.
Last night, City Council approved First Federal Bank of the Midwest as our depository for active and interim funds. So that agreement will be taking place on May 4th. It's a 5-year agreement per the Ohio Revised Code. The major change that we're going to be incurring, it should be effective in June, will be that no longer will credit card or debit card fees be free of charge. Those fees will be passed along to our customer. In the past, the City of Bryan had a pretty sweet deal that we receive no charges from our institutions on merchant services, so therefore our customers receive no charges. But in the future, about anywhere that you go to that has a credit card processing or debit card processing, they're charging a fee to it. And I'll just throw out Ohio Gas, the county, you can look at their websites, they're charging fees. We're going to need to do that in the future also. We're looking at third parties to handle these merchant service transactions. We haven't narrowed it down beyond 3 that we're looking at right now, but the fees will need to start in June, as that's when our current agreement will end. So we'll be back to you with some more information about that, because we'll have to update the website, of course, and we'll probably be working with Lou to give out some different types of tools for people to access the web portal. We may also be able to have IVR, which is a voice activated, so perhaps they're not comfortable on the internet, they might be able to call in on a phone line and use the charge to their accounts, but they'll need to have their account information when they do that. It is going to seem like it's an inconvenience to our customers because, like I said, they've had it free of charge and so have we. However, we offer monthly ACH that we take directly out of people's banking accounts if they would prefer that. That's a clean movement so that they really don't have a need every month to write a check or come in and pay in cash. And that would continue to be free of charge as long as it's on a monthly ACH that we initiate. And of course, checks and cash are always acceptable, and those are going to continue to be free of charge. But we just wanted to put that out there to the public that we will be doing this. Like I said, I think we're one of the final few that have been allowed this service, which we've enjoyed greatly. But things are changing, and it's not fair to the city or the utility to eat that charge for the people who are choosing to use credit cards or debit cards to pay their bills when there's other options available that are free of charge.
Are you gonna, do you know what the fee amount, or is it a percentage or a flat amount? Do you know yet? Or
You know, I don't want to commit to that yet because
Okay.
we haven't narrowed it down. The court's going to be incurring the same thing also, but the court could be a different amount versus what the utility is going to be. I can tell you that utilities presents a really different animal because on the interchange, Visa's the dominant animal on interchange, and anybody who deals with credit cards knows that they kind of control the business. On utilities, what's going to be different about it is right now you could come up to our office and we have a credit card machine and you can run it through that machine. As long as the city isn't charged a fee, we can't charge the customer a fee. But if they come up and use their credit card machine in the future, there will be a charge unless the city eats it, unless we go to web-based. So what that means is instead of using a credit card machine in our office in the future, what will likely happen is that there will be a terminal out in the lobby. It'll be web-based. You'll get on and pay online, which we already have online services. But for people who aren't comfortable on the computer, we realized that that could be an issue, in which case we would go to the IVR or the phone system. There could be an additional charge if you choose to pay by phone and use your credit card.
Wow.
So we're looking at all options, trying to get the best deal for our customers as well, because like I said, this is a pass-through.
So an ACH transaction, there's no fee charge.
If it's a monthly ACH that's initiated by us, no. So you fill out the form up in our office, and every month you want us to do this, there'll be no fee.
How many customers do you have to do that?
Actually, quite a few. I would say a good 15% to 20%, particularly because of the snowbirds. We get a lot of seniors that go, of course, south for the winter. It just sets it up really nice for them. They don't have to remember those bills.
Since I've been doing that, I've never been late.
Well, we appreciate that.
I've never.
And it is taken out at the last possible day to avoid a late fee, so it's a really good service for
I
people
would
who choose to
encourage,
do
I would
that.
encourage everybody. I know how many people, I don't like somebody in my account, but you're never late. You always pull it when you pull it, and it's, you know, it's the right amount.
Phil, if you were late, we would still tag you.
I know. But it isn't late.
That is true.
I know.
So we're just throwing it out there. We'll have a little bit more discussion on it, certainly coming up. And we will be working with Luonix. Like I said, we'll see some website changes. We'll have to update that. We'll probably have little cards out there so we can pass out with like the website information as well as a number if we're going to go to IVR, so people can do the voice response if they want to. We've actually had people that were close to being shut off. They're out in Montana. He was out hunting in some rural location in Montana, and we had a resident call back. Well, as of right now, I could take his card, but in the future,
Couldn't take it.
I couldn't take it unless we went to this IVR or he would somewhere come up with some internet access. So, I mean, those things happen. It sounds like a stretch, but he wasn't planning on being back for a couple of weeks, and if everything would have spoiled at the height of summer, it would have been a real mess when he came home. So it's an issue, and we're trying to resolve it. Like I said, we've been spoiled. So.
Good. Joe, you got anything? Al? Jackie? Matt? Okay. Tom?
Good.
Bill?
I'm okay.
Had to have some pretty good solar days here the last couple
Oh,
of days.
yeah.
Wow.
We're starting to. We had a rough
It was
end of
hot.
last month though, with the overcast
Yeah.
and rain and
Right.
snow.
Is that some nice weather? Karen?
Nope.
No, I don't have anything to add either. In that case, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Bill?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.